Please be seated. Good afternoon, faculty, staff, students, families, friends, and honored guests. Welcome. My name is Dr. Peter Igarashi, and as Dean of the Renaissance School of Medicine, it is my distinct honor to preside over today's event, the 52nd Convocation in our school's history. I'd like to begin the ceremonies by introducing the members of the platform party. Our convocation speaker, Dr. Sue Quagan, Executive Vice President of Stony Brook Medicine, Dr. Bill Wertheim, Vice Dean of Undergraduate Medical Education, Dr. Drew Wackett, Vice Dean of Research, Dr. Sue Hedayati, Vice Dean of Clinical Affairs, Dr. Todd Griffin, Vice Dean of Graduate Medical Education, Dr. Jonathan Busaglia, Vice Dean of Faculty Affairs, Dr. Stella Circa, Director of the Medical Scientist Training Program, Dr. Mike Froman, Associate Dean of Student Affairs, Dr. Dave Cohen, Associate Dean of Admissions, Dr. Jack Fuhrer, Associate Dean of Student Inclusion and Belonging, Dr. Jadan Phillips, Associate Dean of Clinical Education, Dr. Lisa Strano-Paul, Assistant Dean of Student Diversity, Dr. Jenny Williams, and Director of Assessment and Evaluation, Dr. Wei-Shin Liu. Thank you for the key roles you have played. Thank you for educating our students and for your leadership that has brought our graduates to today's milestone. I'd also like to thank the faculty, staff, and alumni who assembled today to celebrate with our graduates. Give them a hand, please. As well as the entire staff in the Dean's office under the leadership of Assistant Dean MJ Allen for organizing today's events. Thank you. Next, I'd like to thank those who are truly deserving of exuberant applause, the partners, families, and friends of our graduates. It does take a village to produce a doctor. Your constant encouragement, your sacrifices, and your unwavering support have sustained our graduates and allowed them to flourish in medical school and beyond. We are all indebted to you for your commitment, and we share in the pride you feel in their accomplishments today. To the 142 students in the graduating class of 2026, today is a celebration of your perseverance and achievement. After years of working towards this moment, it has finally arrived. You made it. Congratulations. After this ceremony, you will now and forever be known as doctors. Your graduating class exemplifies something extraordinary about medicine. People from vastly different backgrounds coming together in service of others. Among your ranks are 8 graduates of our 3-year MD program and 11 earning both an MD and a PhD through our medical scientist training program. Some of your journeys to this moment began in far-off lands, such as Bangladesh and rural El Salvador. Others started in upstate New York or Long Island. One of you actually delivered a baby recently. Congratulations. Regardless of the distance traveled, you came to pursue your medical education at Stony Brook University, the #1 ranked public university in the great state of New York. You will leave Stony Brook with more than a degree. At the Renaissance School of Medicine, you acquired a mechanistic understanding of human disease that will allow you to diagnose thoughtfully and treat effectively. Through clinical rotations, you learned how to communicate with patients and develop the technical and empathic skills of trusted physicians. Through our Medicine and Contemporary Society course, volunteering in our free student clinic, SB Home, serving in food pantries, and mentoring underprivileged high school students, we learned how social factors impact the health of our patients and their communities. This combination of scientific rigor, clinical skill, empathy, and understanding of social determinants has prepared you well for the responsibilities ahead. Medicine is not easy. There will be days that test you in ways you cannot yet imagine. The world of healthcare and technology is rapidly evolving, but you are ready. You have been trained well, and you have already proven through every exam, every rotation, every moment of self-doubt you push through that you have what it takes. Remember that the essential core of medicine is the relationship between the doctor and the patient. Patients will look to you in moments of fear and uncertainty. They will need your knowledge, your skill, and your compassion. Please give them all of it. Graduates, it is my distinct honor to welcome you to the profession of medicine. We, your faculty, families, your friends, are incredibly proud of you. Please join me in congratulating the Renaissance School of Medicine class of 2026. I would now like to invite Dr. Bill Wertheim, Executive Vice President of Stony Brook Medicine, to deliver a few remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Yarashi. I am delighted to be here today to welcome our faculty, staff, alumni, graduates, families, and friends to Stony Brook University's Renaissance School of Medicine Convocation. Today marks a significant milestone in your lives. You join a long line of dedicated people who have chosen to be physicians and to serve the public by treating illness and by promoting health. You also join a distinguished group of over 6,000 alumni of the Renaissance School of Medicine. You start your medical careers when the need for physicians is great, but also the need for empathy, clarity, and ability to make the science of medicine accessible is substantial. I know that the skills you have learned here have laid a strong foundation for your careers. Whatever field you have chosen, you leave Stony Brook with a level of preparation and skill that positions you for success in any path you choose. That preparation reflects the commitment and innovation of your faculty and the dedication and hard work each of you have invested in the art and science of medicine. Your perseverance, your embrace of excellence, and your passion for helping others leave me with no doubt that you will make a difference in the lives of your patients and in the delivery of care wherever you go. The world of medicine can be hard. The hours are long. The work is challenging, and outcomes are more uncertain than we imagine. Experiments may not bear fruit. Treatments may fail. Patients will not always follow your advice. The process of healthcare delivery may not unfold the way you think is good for you or for your patients. And the unquestioning faith people once displayed in medicine is sometimes replaced by mistrust, by devaluation of science, and by a sense that physicians either do not know anything or that our judgment is clouded by influences which are not centered on our patients. There will be times of doubt and times of feeling hopeless. So I ask you to please remember a few things during those times. Number one, Listen to your patients and try to understand what lies behind their words. Understanding their lives and beliefs creates a connection that enables you to become an advisor they trust. 2, people seek information from lots of sources, including many you may not consider reliable. Most of your patients cannot analyze a study or critique an article or identify the best evidence. If you redirect them, do so without making them feel as if you're looking down on them for trying to find answers. 3, learn how to identify the best evidence and critique an article and analyze a study yourself. Your role as a doctor is to interpret the sea of information for patients. Good science still matters. Number 4, know that sometimes our patients just want an answer, and sometimes they want to understand how you arrived at that answer. Make room for them to ask questions. 5, when your patients succumb to illness, as sometimes they will, recall the words of Edward Livingston Trudeau, who wrote that the physician's role is to cure sometimes, to relieve often, and to comfort always. Our job as physicians is to provide our patients the knowledge that we will be with them through their difficult times. 6, when you experience a challenging period during your careers, think of the words of Viktor Frankl, who wrote, "Don't aim at success. The more you aim at it and make it a target, the more you are going to miss it. For success, like happiness, cannot be pursued, it must ensue. And it only does so as the unintended side effect of one's personal dedication to a cause greater than oneself. Dedicate yourselves to the welfare of your patients, whether by treating illness, preventing disease, or by understanding the basic mechanisms of human biology." And 7, there is always, despite your stellar education, more to learn. Learn from your patients, learn from the scientific literature, learn from each other. Remember the words of Hippocrates, who said of medicine, "The life so short, the craft so long to learn." To the families and friends of our graduates, please accept my congratulations and my thanks for supporting these doctors through their education, for listening to their travails, and for reminding them of the meaning in their lives. Graduates, we are so proud to have shared in this journey. As you venture out into the world, know that you'll forever be a valued member of the Renaissance School of Medicine community. On behalf of our leadership, faculty, and staff, I extend our best wishes for your future success in medicine. Your patients are waiting for you. Congratulations to the Renaissance School of Medicine, class of 2026.
Now I am delighted to introduce today's convocation speaker, Dr. Susan Quagan. I first met Dr. Quagan in 1993 when she joined my laboratory at Yale as a postdoctoral fellow. Although I take no credit for her meteoric career, which you'll hear more of in a minute, one of the greatest joys in academic medicine is living vicariously through your former mentees and students, including those graduating today, as they fulfill their aspirations in a career in medicine. So it's particularly meaningful for me to introduce Dr. Quagan to you. Dr. Quagan received her MD from the University of Toronto and completed a residency in internal medicine, chief residency, and nephrology fellowship at St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto. She obtained research training at Yale University and the Samuel Lunenfeld Research Institute, then joined the faculty in the Department of Medicine at the University of Toronto, where she was named a Canada Research Chair in Vascular Biology and the Gabor Zellerman Chair in Renal Research. In 2013, Dr. Quagan was recruited to Northwestern University as the Chief of Nephrology and Hypertension and Director of the Feinberg Cardiovascular and Renal Institute. In 2023, she was appointed as the first woman chair of the Department of Medicine at the Feinberg School of Medicine and the Irving S. Cutter Professor of Medicine at Northwestern University. Dr. Quagan is an internationally recognized physician scientist whose work at the intersection of medicine and vascular biology is reshaping how we understand and ultimately treat some of medicine's most challenging diseases. She is a true triple threat, in a good way, who is equally adept at patient care, research, and teaching. Her pioneering research has uncovered the mechanisms that establish and maintain the specialized vascular beds in the kidney, lymphatic system, and eye. Among her major discoveries are the essential role of vascular endothelial growth factor in maintaining the glomerular filtration barrier, the role of angiopoietin Tie2 signaling in the development of the vasculature and eye, and the mechanism whereby SGLT2 inhibitors slow progression of kidney disease. Her work has opened new pathways for understanding the pathogenesis and treatment of a wide range of human diseases, including preeclampsia, diabetic kidney disease, nephrotic syndrome, lymphedema, and glaucoma. Dr. Quagan's contributions have earned recognition at the highest levels of medicine and science. She's received the A.N. Richards Award from the International Society of Nephrology, the John Peters Award from the American Society of Nephrology, the Distinguished Scientist Award from the American Heart Association, and the Louis-Faucon Delande Foundation Scientific Grand Prize from the Institut de France. She's been elected to the American Society for Clinical Investigation, the National Academy of Medicine, the National Academy of Inventors, the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, and she served as president of the American Society of Nephrology and president-elect of the Association of American Physicians. In addition, Dr. Quagan has used the pulpit of her leadership positions to advocate for reducing health disparities and promoting health justice. During her tenure as president of the ASN, Dr. Quagan collaborated with the National Kidney Foundation to remove race from a widely used clinical tool to estimate glomerular filtration rate. For years, the equation had systematically overestimated the GFR of African Americans and thereby limited their access to dialysis and transplantation. Removing race from the equation has significantly expanded the availability of life-saving renal replacement therapies in an underserved population that suffers disproportionately from kidney disease. As an outstanding physician, inspiring teacher, accomplished researcher, and advocate for health justice, Dr. Quagan embodies the values and purpose of the Renaissance School of Medicine and Stony Brook Medicine. I am particularly honored to welcome her to deliver this year's convocation address.
Wow. Well, thank you, Dean Igarashi, for those far, far too kind and lengthy words. And truly, you were and still are an amazing mentor to me. So, good afternoon to distinguished faculty and guests, family and friends, and most of all to the 2026 graduates of the Renaissance School of Medicine. To say it is an immense privilege for me to be standing up here to participate in this wonderful celebration is an understatement. A day that belongs first and foremost to all of you, the graduates, and all you have accomplished. Congratulations. But as also recognized, it also belongs to the families, loved ones, and friends, as I look around this room who are here or who might be watching online, who have supported you throughout, and to the faculty and teachers who have dedicated their time and expertise. So truly, thank you for allowing me to participate in this really, really wonderful celebration. So in preparing my remarks for today, it really brought me back to my own medical school graduation, which is now almost 40 years ago. And looking out in this auditorium, it was not dissimilar. And I imagine I was feeling very much of what many of you are feeling today as well. I was excited, proud, grateful beyond words to be surrounded by my classmates who had become so much more than peers and friends, what we had survived together, what we had accomplished together. And I was more than ready to step into that next chapter, to become officially a member of this profession, to practice and to continue to grow and learn, but in now my chosen field, with the hope to make a real difference in the lives of patients and the communities we are called to serve. But as I was thinking back to those 40 years, what struck me also was that I had no idea, sitting there, how medicine would evolve over those 40 years. None of us did. You know, when I graduated, HIV was still a uniformly and rapidly fatal disease. Now it's managed largely as a chronic disease with a life expectancy similar to the general population. Gene therapies were only in the imagination of the researchers. We now have 46 approved FDA gene therapies with treatments, things such as being able to restore hearing and sight to a child, and even being able to reprogram a patient's own immune cells so it can fight cancers and other devastating diseases like multiple sclerosis, lupus, and scleroderma. So how medicine has transformed and evolved, looking almost nothing like it did 40 years ago when I graduated. Unrecognizable. And yet, the profession I joined that day, and the one that you are all officially about to join, medicine, is exactly the same as the day I graduated. It hasn't changed at all. So how can these two things both be true? Today, I'd like to share what I believe to be the answer to this question I just posed, this paradox. It's an answer which I found embedded within the message delivered during another medical school convocation. But before I go there, I want to introduce you to one of my own heroes. His name is Doc, and he's the reason I pursued my own journey into medicine. Doc was a family physician in Toronto. I met him when I was 15 years old, and yes, he was known just as Doc to his neighbors. He was known as Doc to his children. He was known as Doc or Doc Smith to his patients. And he practiced in the city of Toronto for more than 50 years. And on the occasion of his retirement from the profession, the national newspaper in Canada did a full-page article on him, the Globe and Mail. And at that time, Doc was still reading the New England Journal of Medicine. He was 85 from cover to cover. He was still making house calls, often arriving on his bicycle. So when he retired at the age of 85, he said, what am I going to do with all my time? So he decided to pen a series of short stories in a book that he called House Calls, chronicling some of his experience over almost 60 years of practice in Toronto. And I want to share one of those stories with you today. It begins in 1937. It's a terrible year of the polio epidemic in the city of Toronto. The population is 500,000. There are 3,000 cases of polio. Parents are terrified. It begins as a GI illness and fever, progressing to neurologic symptoms and even death. And Doc recalls as a school-aged child being kept out of school up at his grandmother's cottage in northern Ontario, only coming back to the city in the cold winter months when the virus had died down. He also remembers his father, a physician before him, often sleeping over at the hospital for fear of bringing the virus home. Now fast forward to the 1950s. There's been waves of the polio epidemic. Doc is now a medical student, and he recalls that his scholarly project, which I think you all also have an area of scholarly concentration, was in the Department of Nutrition. And he remembers walking into a classroom there and seeing a white-haired professor writing on a blackboard in chalk the word soup. And Doc's project was to try to figure out the soup or the mixture or the media that they could grow the poliovirus in a petri dish, because up until that time, the only way to study the poliovirus was in rhesus monkeys that had to be imported at great cost from India. The year's now 1954. Doc is an intern, another terrible year for the polio epidemic. And Doc writes about losing two of his university varsity swim teammates. They succumbed to the poliovirus. And he describes them as healthy, strapping young men. As an intern, he is assigned to the infectious diseases ward in the Hospital for Sick Children. That's the largest pediatric hospital in Toronto. And he remembers admitting two 12-year-old girls just a couple days apart. They had both contracted polio in the same swimming pool. The first girl died very quickly. The second was kept alive in an iron lung. And if you haven't seen those, they're these coffin-like contraptions with the girl's head just protruding and a mirror placed over her face. Doc's most vivid memories from those times was seeing the girl's mother standing 7 stories below on the street looking up at her daughter's hospital window, the mirror placed over so her daughter could see her. She would stand there motionless for hours. A few days later, the girl died. The following year, Jonas Salk and his team in Pittsburgh reported out on the development of the polio vaccine, and the rest is history. So fast forward now to the 1980s. Doc is a seasoned family physician. I'm in medical school now, and he's seeing a young girl, a well child visit. She comes in with her mother. Doc describes the mother as educated, well-dressed, but she doesn't want her daughter to be vaccinated. Now, Doc is fairly patient, so he talks quite some time about the benefits and risks of vaccination, and she says she understands all that, but doesn't want her child to be vaccinated. So Doc is frustrated, but he doesn't give up, and he asks if she might return the following day with the girl's father, her husband. The woman reluctantly agreed. And the following day, they return. And Doc, I must say he's also not always politically correct, describes the man as a meek man. He sits in the corner, he doesn't say a word. The mother does all the talking. So Doc launches into his story. He talks about being kept out of school at his grandmother's cottage, about his father sleeping at the hospital, about the soup, about the varsity swim teammates and the 2 12-year-old girls and the mother, and the discovery of the vaccine. And after a long pause, all of a sudden we'll do it, and it's the father who's spoken up. And Doc, who I failed to mention at the beginning of the story, is also my father-in-law of 38 years, finishes the story, "I won," with an exclamation mark. And I share that story today not as a commentary on vaccines or vaccination policy. It was written long before COVID, but because it's an illustration of what it means, what it truly means to be a physician, and Doc embodies the very best of what it means, blending the art and science of medicine to ensure you deliver the very best care for your patients. Now, I was in Toronto last weekend. Doc is now 97, so I was visiting him, and after quite a long time, he was asking me what's new in medicine, what's happening at Northwestern. He wanted to know all about CAR T cells. I asked Doc, I said, what would you tell the graduates of Stony Brook today? And he answered without any hesitation. He said, the same words, the same message that I shared with my classmates when I delivered the convocation speech as class president in 1954, the same year that he lost his varsity swim teammates. And the words are care, ask, listen. To care truly is the foundation of our profession. It is a practice, not a feeling. It's a choice long before you open a patient's chart or walk into the room, and it drives everything we do. Ask. The science that you've all learned over the past number of years tells you what to ask, not just of the patient, but of the diagnostic tests, the imaging, the lab testing, the research lab. And remember, never stop asking, always remain curious. And listen. And here, I'm not talking about ambient listening or an AI app, but listening with active presence, a shared vulnerability between a physician and a patient, so that a patient is heard, truly heard and seen. This is Doc's recipe, 3 simple words on how to put the art and science of medicine into practice for himself and also for generations of medical students and residents that he taught. So in a few moments, it's going to be the highlight. It's going to be the hooding ceremony. You're going to receive your diplomas, and like every physician before you, you are going to recite the physician's oath, a modernized version of the Hippocratic Oath, dating back about 2,500 years. I want to draw your attention to one specific line, that above all else, I will serve the highest interests of my patients through the practice of my science and my art. Doc's journey, his life, his practice is what the oath looks like lived. So to each and every member of the class of 2026, congratulations. Undoubtedly, advances in medicine are going to continue to happen in ways that we can't possibly predict today. And yet, medicine will remain exactly the same as it was in my day, and Doc's day, and his father's day. I'm so excited for each of you to begin this next phase of your journeys. Yes, there will be hard work and challenges ahead, but oh, so many victories. So remember to enjoy the ride. It's an incredible one. Thank you.
Lost my place here. Okay, now I have the pleasure of, well, first of all, thank you, Dr. Quagan, for a really perfect talk. Thank you. Now I have the pleasure of introducing the graduate address, which will be given by Dr. To-be, Anthony Sochan, one of our student senators. He'll give the graduate address. Dr. Anthony.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Quagan, for your inspiring words. We truly appreciate you being here today to share your wisdom with us. Faculty, staff, family, and friends, thank you for joining us to celebrate this momentous occasion, the beginning of a new journey for our doctors-to-be, the Renaissance School of Medicine, class of 2026. It is my incredible honor to be speaking with you today. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank those who have made this journey possible. To our deans and administrative staff, thank you for making Stony Brook such an amazing place to learn. Even when your offices were flooded with water, you steered the ship clear and made our education your top priority. To our faculty mentors, thank you for serving as our role models. We truly appreciate the time and effort you have dedicated to our future careers. To our family, friends, and loved ones, thank you for being there for us when we needed you most. As we've developed this new identity, you listened to our aspirations, accepted us for who we are, and understood why we may take 3 to 5 days to text you back. So thank you. It's challenging to illustrate how far we've come in just a few minutes. Before I share a deeper reflection of our experiences, I'd like to discuss the extraordinary qualities and memories that make us the class of 2026. First, to address the elephant in the room, no, we did not regain access to the HSC parking garage. The crisis we once thought insurmountable added a whopping 7 minutes to our commute. It became the subject of memes and forced us to get outside a bit more, which was not such a bad thing after all. It gave us time to catch up with a classmate and ponder when medical school would finally feel as exciting as an episode of The Pit. Some of the best memories from medical school were forged in the anatomy lab. We had the privilege of taking care of our first patients in the most intimate and revealing way imaginable, discovering who they were, what they experienced, and how many variations of the celiac trunk there can be. This culminated into a day of remembrance honoring our donors by spending time with their loved ones and recognizing the ultimate sacrifice they made for our learning. We are also an incredibly talented collection of artists, musicians, and athletes. From hosting music and medicine open mic events, creating an Avicii remix or remix of Dr. Rem's classic biochemistry sayings, thank you, Rich, going on nature walks with Dr. Cohen, and getting dusted by Dr. Wackett during 5K group runs on Circle Road, we showed that we're more than just medical students, we're type A overachievers. And of course, let's not forget our electrifying music video. We acted, danced, and came together to assemble a piece of work we can be proud of. Despite having dance moves and vocals that rival Harry Styles himself, I'm glad we're sticking to medicine. Now I'd like to shift gears and discuss the voice that characterizes the class of 2026. Many adjectives can describe our class: authentic, compassionate, resilient, and brilliant. But there was one phrase that captured my attention, and surely enough, Dr. Wertheim actually also echoed the similar phrase, ars longa, vita brevis, which means art is long, life is short, or craft is long and life is short. This quote from Hippocrates, the father of medicine, captures today's celebration of our journey, and I'd like to share a story to further articulate its meaning with you. On a summer day, 2 medical students arrived at 4:30 in the morning for their general surgery rotation. Naive but ambitious, they checked on their patients, gently nudging them awake to assess their pain, press on their abdomens, and check their wounds. One patient, who I'll call Mr. Roberts, was different. Mr. Roberts, a middle-aged man, fell victim to the tragedies of intravenous drug use, and his body was ravaged by years of addiction, infections, and bowel resections. He struggled to stay out of the hospital, and over time, Mr. Roberts mistrusted the medical system, for he worried about the presumptions of the next provider who encountered him. Entering the dimly lit hospital room, the 2 medical students greeted Mr. Roberts. Frozen in time, he laid in his bed looking hopeless, desperate, and afraid. The sunlight peering through the blinds revealed surgical scars and wisps of melancholy. The students took time to learn about Mr. Roberts, not just as a patient, but as a person. Who he was, where he grew up, the dogs he fostered, what foods he savored, and the genre of music he enjoyed. While some days were more challenging than others, the students worked diligently to build rapport with their patient. When Mr. Roberts required a CT scan to advance his care, he was reluctant to do so, fearful of leaving the safe confines of his hospital room. Without ensuing pressure or casting judgment, the students continued to strengthen their connection with Mr. Roberts. Eventually, he agreed to get the scan under one condition: to have the students wheel him downstairs and accompany him to the radiology suite. Together, the students wheeled Mr. Roberts from his room, carefully maneuvering his bed around corners, crossing slowly over door thresholds, and lifting him onto the scanner table. And after completing the scan, the students transported Mr. Roberts back upstairs to the safety of his room. Though the scan was indeterminate, it was far from a hollow victory. In these moments, the students truly realized that patients like Mr. Roberts were more than manifestations of their choices. They were more than the complexities of their diseases, and often they were misunderstood. The students' actions instilled peace and restored dignity within their patient's soul. Most of all, they inspired a deep impact that stretches beyond the bounds of the brevity of human life. As future physicians, our ability to leave such an impact is inherent in the meaning of ars longa, vita brevis. While human life is brief, our art, the practice of medicine, leaves an indelible mark on the memories of patients and their loved ones for generations to come. Holding the weight of this responsibility is an absolute privilege, and I'd like to offer 3 tenets to reflect this commitment. First, we must embrace imperfection. As we enter the next phase of our medical training, there will be mistakes, there will be inefficiencies, and there will be tough times. Though we will always strive to succeed in providing the best medical care, it is essential to accept failure as an opportunity for growth. We are not defined by our struggles, but by our strength in the face of adversity. Second, we must act with integrity. Regardless of the complexity or convenience of our work, it is our duty to do what's best for the patient. Doing the right thing for our patients is often the harder task to complete, yet the arduous nature of our work requires us to step up to the plate and give our best effort when no one is watching. Though difficult, let us be the honest, reliable, and accountable physicians whom we would want to treat our own family members. Third and finally, we must choose excellence. The future of science, medicine, and the health of our society depends on us to be thought leaders, change makers, and pioneers who will make this world a better place. Excellence is embedded in our pursuit of advancing medical care, and in this endeavor, we shall welcome the personal sacrifice and discipline required to get there. There is no challenge too great for us to practice this excellence. Needless to say, the amount of work we have dedicated to be here today is undeniable. Our art of medicine was built in silence, long hours, sleepless nights, and missed occasions. And well, it's safe to say we will also be having a few more sleepless nights in residency, but it's worth it. It's all worth it. Before closing, I would like to leave you with a quote from the late poet, Mary Oliver. "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" Friends and future colleagues, I invite you to reflect on this question and encourage you to be the change you want to see in the world. In doing so, please find peace in your journey thus far and excitement in the path that lies ahead. Ars longa, vita brevis. Art is long, life is short. Leave your impact, embrace imperfection, and act with integrity. And finally, choose excellence above all else. Congratulations, class of 2026. The best is yet to come. Be proud of today. Congratulations.
Okay, now we come to the irreversible part of the chemical reaction. You guys ready? I'm sure you are. I'd like to introduce the hooding and diploma ceremony by introducing Deans Fuhrer, Cohen, Phillips, Stronopol, Williams, Liu, and Wackett to begin this part of the ceremony. Dr. Fuhrer.
Anthony, that was wonderful. You're a tough act to follow. Good afternoon. Dean Igarashi, Executive Vice President Wertheim, Dr. Quagan, distinguished platform members and faculty, dear family and friends. It is my distinct honor and privilege to present to you the Renaissance School of Medicine graduating class of 2026. I am confident in saying that each and every one of us here today takes great pride in the members of this class. I am also sure you would all agree with me that to navigate the workload and stress of medical school is certainly no easy achievement. Hours of studying voluminous amounts of biomedical sciences, tests, and then more tests, sleepless nights, long hours on clinical rotations caring for the sickest and most vulnerable of patients, preparation for USMLE 1 and 2 board exams, and then the stress of applying to residency. Needless to say, a monumental task, one that keeps on giving as our newly minted doctors will soon spend the next 3 or more years in residency and fellowship training working no less than 70 to 80 hours per week, and perhaps wishing they were back in medical school. Nah, I don't think so, right? The achievement wasn't done alone, and there are many to thank for helping our graduates reach this glorious day. Excuse me. To the parents, family members, significant others, and friends, I want to personally thank you for being there to support your graduate in whatever way you could, from lending an ear so they could vent, to preparing home-cooked meals, to doing laundry, or helping to pay for expenses. Your love and support has been significant and deserves special recognition. And to our wonderful faculty and deans who have been there to help our students each step of the way, a big thank you. And lastly, to our graduates, I want to personally thank you for living up to the promise of being the best physician you can be, someone who is dedicated to learning and advancing the science while practicing the art of medicine, someone who strives to provide the best care possible, someone who takes the time to listen attentively to patients' concerns and act on those issues, and someone who understands that the meaning of doctor is to teach, whether it be colleagues, residents, students, or patients. We now live in a period where artificial intelligence is part of all our daily lives. AI is a powerful tool when used appropriately. It can be helpful to physicians and already has replaced some of what doctors do. But AI will never replace our humanity. The ability to comfort a patient with a hand on their shoulder or simply say, "I am here for you." Graduates, always remember that patients perceive the good doctor as not one with an encyclopedic memory who can robotically tell you the latest medical literature on a specific disease, but instead, the good doctor is one who, in addition to being knowledgeable and skilled, is human, compassionate, and moved by her patients' challenges. As Dr. Francis Peabody stated in a Harvard lecture 100 years ago, the secret of good patient care lies in caring for the patient, a core medical value which remains true today. Okay, enough with all these sobering thoughts. It's now time to celebrate our graduates and have some fun. In view of the fact that you're sitting in Island Federal Sports Arena, home to your Stony Brook Seawolves, I hereby give you permission to make as much noise as you wish when I announce your graduate's name. Come on! I know you can do better. I will now ask the students in the first row to please line up in the corridor to your right, my left. Dr. Anisha Achar. Dr. Jonathan Aminov. Dr. Rami Arikat. Dr. Kian Ildefonso Avila. Dr. Michael Awad. Dr. Eric Bao. Dr. Alady Barry. Dr. Jade Bassam. Dr. Anirudh Bimabarapu. Dr. Savannah Bitsis. Dr. Elizabeth Bonomo. Make sure you... Dr. Alan Brahmian. Dr. Erica Michelle Brayman. Dr. Gabrielle Bright. Dr. Jane Bergen. Dr. Patricia Seri-Droz. Dr. Diane Sarah Chernoff. Dr. Antoine Chu. Dr. Kelly Ho-Yi Chu. Dr. Timothy Chu. Dr. Jacqueline Cho. Dr. Philippe Catone. Dr. Erin Crawford. Dr. Tarana Daryai. Dr. Francesca De Esso Frechette. Dr. Mark Delahose. Dr. Brandon Desantonio Perez. Dr. Vincent DiStefano. Dr. Nicholas Dodge. Dr. Liam Jacob Edwards Garrity. Dr. Cynthia Escobar Avalar. Dr. Anne Claire Farid. Dr. Kardamu Fizaru. Dr. John Fitzgerald. Dr. Sarah Flamenco. Dr. Andre Galenchik Chan. Dr. Sandhya Ganesan. Dr. Jacob Gordon. Dr. Nipa Gupta. Dr. Justina Munir Hanain. Dr. Brandon Hughes. Dr. Kelly Yablon. Dr. Lisa Jackson. Dr. Jason Jane. Dr. Chaim Janani. Dr. Anisha Javaji. Dr. Prima Kalra. Dr. Snigna Kanadi Botla. Dr. Brandon Canyon. Dr. Ted Ilian Kim. Dr. Harry David Cooperstein. Dr. Jessica Kwong. Dr. Lauren Langman. Dr. Hudson Lee. Dr. Alexa Ray Letizia. Dr. Deborah Morgan Lee. Dr. Jennifer Lee. Dr. Kevin Lin. Dr. Tiffany Lin. Dr. Ethan Lizarraga. Dr. Dana Yivichushka Loha. Dr. Aaron Lopez. Dr. Michael Liu. Dr. Catherine Lowe. Dr. Molly McIsaac. Dr. Brigitte Machai. Dr. Hamza Mullick. Dr. Catherine Mangialardi. Dr. Ryan Marchese. Dr. Casey Elizabeth McKenna. Dr. Rachel Mendoza. Dr. Josue Ricardo Merida. Dr. Abhinav Mishra. Dr. Kara Mia Alyssa Malura. Dr. Jasper Murphy. Dr. Anirudh Murthy. Dr. Nishant Mutasamy. Dr. Muhammad Amar Nazim. Dr. Chimdindu Victor Obanero. Dr. Tenzin Selden Osho. Dr. Kira Page. Dr. Siri Pack. Dr. Heon Park. Dr. Justin Noah Passman. Dr. Bijal Patel. Dr. Riya Patel. Dr. Matthew Poloski. Dr. Dilsa Perez. Dr. James Petra Costa. Dr. Isabella Pizzuto. Dr. Shreyas Piatti. Dr. Chiara Rubeno. Dr. Bikash Rahat. Dr. Simathul Rashid. Dr. Sophia Wren. Dr. Richard Roshin. Dr. Ambar Ruiz. Dr. Gregory Sachs. Dr. Veronica Samoyedny. Dr. Bijit Anand Sekhar. Dr. Mark Scotto DeVetta. Dr. Dershi Nimesh Shah. Dr. Michael Shellhart Sayers. Dr. Amanda Shorey. Dr. Lana Steinman. Dr. Manan Shukla. Dr. Catherine Sue. Dr. Reyes Skopicki. Dr. Anthony Joseph Soshin. Dr. Alexandra Solovinska. Dr. Daniel Stern. Dr. Scott Sun. Dr. Sujit Abhishek Swarna. Dr. David Santo. Dr. Kevin Tan. Dr. Sade Taylor. Dr. Lauren Teleska. Dr. Gilberto Torres. Dr. Raymond C. Aduba. Dr. Chiameka David Uwakwe. Dr. Lauren Von Usman. Dr. Devin Wackett. Dr. Eric Wong. Dr. Kelly Wong. Dr. Matthew Wirtz. Dr. Sebastian Wozniak. Dr. Susan Wu. Dr. Siwen Shea. Dr. David Changhua Yang. Dr. Felicia Yen. The next group of students are graduates of our NIH-funded Medical Scientist Training Program and have spent the better part of the last decade advancing our knowledge of science and medicine and completing both the PhD and MD degrees. How's that for perseverance? Dr. Danielle Fassler. Dr. Yoon-Young Kim. Dr. Joshua Kogan. Dr. Daniel Lazarev. Dr. Alan H. Lee. Dr. Craig Anthony Marshall. Dr. Philip Andrew T. Moresco. Dr. Kevin Alexander Morgus. Dr. Joshua Steinberg. Dr. Dylan Matthew Voss. As Dr. Voss returns to his seat, I will ask the students to please stand up and turn to the audience for a round of applause, and please remain standing afterwards.
Okay, audience, please be seated, but graduates, please remain standing. It is now time to recite the physician's oath. The physician's oath is read each year. Our oath was written by Dr. Ken Kashansky, former dean of the School of Medicine. I invite all physicians in the audience and on our platform to please stand and join our new doctors in reciting the oath, which is located on the back page of the program. Okay, let's try to coordinate this. Please read along with me. Okay. I solemnly vow to that which I value and hold most dear, that I will honor the profession of medicine, be just and generous, and help sustain colleagues in their service to humanity. That just as I have learned from those who preceded me, so will I instruct those who follow me in the science and the art of medicine. That I will recognize the limits of my knowledge and pursue lifelong learning to better care for patients and prevent illness. That I will seek the counsel of others when they are more expert, so as to fulfill my obligation to those who are entrusted to my care. That I will not withdraw from my patients in their time of need. That I will lead my life with integrity and honor, using my position wisely. That whatsoever I shall hear or see or hear of the lives of my patients that is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep in confidence. That I will maintain this sacred trust, holding myself far aloof from wrong, from corrupting, from the tempting of others to vice. That above all else, I will serve the highest interests of my patients through the practice of my science and my art. That I will be an advocate for patients in need and strive for justice in their care. I now turn to my calling, promising to preserve its finest traditions with the reward of a long experience in the joy of healing. I make this vow freely and upon my honor. Okay, please be seated. I would now like to introduce Dr. Rami Arakat, who will give the graduating closing remarks.
Thank you all for choosing me to speak today and celebrate all the years that we've shared together. And more importantly, thank you for choosing me to celebrate the New York Knicks on their way to a title this year. Let's go Knicks! Go New York, go New York, go! And in all seriousness, as I thought about what to say to describe the years that we've shared together, I kept coming back to the same thought, that nothing that we do is normal. And Honestly, neither are we. And I'm not going to be a surgeon, but I think the simplest example of that is retraction, something that we all take for granted here as students. For those in the audience not in the medical field, often what happens in a surgery is the surgeon will make a big cut, and then it's our job as students to take a piece of metal, hold on for dear life, and keep the body open while they go to work. If there's anyone here not in medicine unfazed, you should either be in jail or have a Netflix special. But the reality is, all of us here are unfazed by that. It's completely normal. But it's not. And the first time we did it, we were terrified. We felt like we were gonna faint, like our arms were gonna fall off. But we did it. And then we did it again, and again, and again. And the reality is, before we even realized it, we could retract in major surgeries, and it felt completely normal. And our brains are amazing at making scary things feel normal, and we should thank it for that. But the reality is sometimes I'm scared of when it happens the other way. We all came into medicine to treat human beings like human beings, to heal them with dignity and respect. And our brains are going to try to make that normal. I have no doubt that every single person here is going to be an amazing doctor. And I know I'm not sponsored, but if it's a Stony Brook doc, I will sign every consent form. Like, I trust them. We have gone through it, and we have survived. But we're gonna be working our butts off in residency, and our brains are gonna keep telling us that everything is normal. Every medication, every order, and every lab. But none of it is, because health is a crown that only the sick can see. And all that we do, all that we've worked for through all these years, is to become experts at putting that crown back on. We love to joke about Tylenol orders and repleting sodiums, but if you could alleviate your family member's pain right now, wouldn't you do it with pride? If you could take a radiology scan and tell them, do they need surgery or are they going home? If you could adjust their medications and make them feel better every single day. If you could do surgery and give them more time on this earth, every single person here would do it with pride. And every patient is someone's most important person. It's someone's parent, someone's child, someone's loved one. And the impact that we have every single day will feel hidden while we're working. Behind the EMRs, behind our filled schedules, behind our third cup of coffee before noon, everything our brain will do is try to make that feel normal. But it's not. Because we are unique that every single action we take every day makes a difference in someone's life. A positive difference. And there's very few that can say that in this world. And in a world that often feels hopeless, we can be someone's hope every single day. It's important that we see that in what we do. Because the same way you stop noticing the pretty trees and flowers on your way to work, we stop noticing the impact that we have. And it's scary to think that we can stop seeing that. We're gonna be reminded to do so many things throughout residency, but I don't think being told to be proud of what we do is one of them. You have to remind yourself, and you need to be proud of what you do to be a good doctor. You need to live in the moment and be proud of your actions every single day, or else you lose sight of what brought us here, that made us go through all of this. Because what we do is anything but normal. And I know that we can do that. And I know that we are all going to be damn good doctors for it. Congratulations, class of 2026.
All right, this concludes our formal ceremony today. But before we leave, I'd like to invite everyone assembled today to a reception, which will be held in the Wong Center. I'm not sure exactly which direction it is from here, but there will be plenty of people to guide you as you exit the arena. Once again, I would like to express my deep gratitude and pride to our graduates today for trusting us with your medical education, and wish you all the very best. Congratulations.